Hi, this is Chell, and we're here to talk about 2014 and the things to look out for. So first of all is what we call the Internet of Things. And this is actually being led off by the Nest investment that Google made into virtually a thermostat. But the Internet of Things is really about everything being able to have an IP address and to be wirelessly connected. So two things have really driven this. One, the ongoing Moore's law of microprocessors getting cheaper and cheaper and smaller and more efficient and less expensive. The second thing is wireless becoming pervasive. And those two things have now reached a tipping point such that the Internet of Things is real. And the validation for this is the Google $3.2 billion acquisition of Nest. Okay, second is big data. So why does everything need to be connected? Everything needs to be connected because it gives us information. It gives us information about behaviors, about what people do, how products react, actually how things are used. So we've heard about big data for the last couple of years and the impact it's starting to have. But again, I think we're just about mid-year, 3/4 through the year, we're gonna hit a tipping point of not only some really valid data that's big, but also some companies that are actually turning those into applications that are applicable to everyday usage for you and I. All right, number 3 is wireless charging. And the reason that we think wireless charging will become so big this year is actually twofold. First of all, the technology has gotten to a point where it's close. It's not actually quite there yet, so 2015 is probably gonna be a bigger year for wireless charging. However, what has become pervasive is wireless coverage. Your biggest concern a few years ago was all about, do I have coverage? Do I have coverage? And I guarantee your biggest concern today isn't if you have coverage, it's if you've got battery life. Next, payments. I've always loved the payment industry, and so payment companies, whether it's PayPal or any of the new starters like Dawala or Square or any of those guys, there's always great space for those organizations to play. But the big thing this year is cryptocurrency. Everything is going to be a cryptocurrency. Your loyalty points are going to be a cryptocurrency. Every department store is going to have their own cryptocurrency. My prediction, 10 to 15 years from now, nations will have their own cryptocurrency that will algorithmically, automatically adjust for political events. In the meantime, the payment processors that can understand how to harness this cryptocurrency and make settlement and payments in 1 or 2 days are going to be massive winners. Up next is the visual web. Now, 80% of our brain is wired for visual cognition and recognition. It's no mistake that the fastest growing website in the history of the web is Pinterest because it's visual. If we look at things like the Snapchats and the Instagrams and the growth of social media, it's all because of that phenomena. We just take in such a plethora and an enormous amount of information when we get that visual recognition. Now, where we think the very sweet spot is when that visual recognition can create a moment of inspiration or a dopamine rush in the brain that causes an action. So we're making our bet on technologies that allow people to interact based on that moment of inspiration. At that moment, dopamine starts rushing. That's the moment that you will take action. The most relevant action in the business we're in is the purchasing action. Okay, the last one that we're going to talk about for 2014 is going to seem pretty obvious, but I think there's some twists on it, are going to be drones. So everybody's talking about drones and how they're going to be used, and Amazon's, in my opinion, spoof on drones delivering products. I mean, that's not going to happen for an awful long time. So this year's drone market, I think, is going to be all about personal drones, generally for entertainment, generally for consumer use. But by the end of the year, we'll start to see some stuff move into the personal assistant side of things. So those are the things that we're watching this year. I'm sure there's lots of others, but that's also where we're making some bets. And I look forward to seeing you here in 2015.